Okay, so on our weight loss journey, we sometimes fixate on the end goal, but do you actually celebrate along the way? The importance of celebration is so high. And we want to make sure that once you've listened to this podcast episode, that you go out and celebrate all of the wins. Welcome to our podcast, Fuck the Diet Cycle, with myself, Lauren Knight, and Abby Lodge. This is for you if you want to cut through the diet industry bullshit and finally end that cycle. Grab yourself a cuppa, get comfy, and let's dive straight in, shall we?
Yes, absolutely. Like you said, a lot of people will focus on that end goal and feel like they haven't achieved anything at all until they reach that goal point. They completely disregard everything that has happened before then, and they just feel, and especially if they do mess up along the way, they feel like they've messed up everything and they can never achieve anything because they haven't achieved that very end goal. So actually having mini goals along your way is going to really help to keep you focused, to keep you motivated, and to make you feel like you are constantly achieving. That is like, like with children, we reward them a lot for, good behavior, all these types of things. We need it for ourselves on a weight loss journey to actually feel like, wow, yeah, I am doing this. I am absolutely doing this. And it gives you that self-belief that I am going to do this. I am going to get there. If you have no celebrations or, whatever, until you get to that point, that's going to take you a very long time because you're constantly just going to be going backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. But I think for a lot of people as well, the word celebration is quite triggering, and it was for me. So for me to actually think of how to celebrate something without food was actually really hard, because a lot of people associate the word celebration with food or alcohol, right?
Yeah.
And that is generally what people think. So then to think I'm on a weight loss journey, how can I celebrate away from food or drink? It's really hard. But things like self-care, Lauren and her bloody baths, and, for a lot of people, I say, if you're dropping a clothes size, before you get to that point, have it in your mind that you might go and buy a dress or a pair of jeans, whatever, in that clothes size that is smaller than what you are now. So then it's going to keep you focused, it's going to keep you motivated, not long and I'm going to be wearing that dress or whatever, booking some time, self-care, a massage, all these types of things to keep you focused.
Yeah, and people are so hooked on those numbers on the scales that they think that that's the only way that they can wait to celebrate. Obviously, we've spoken in our previous episode that you are more than what the scales are. So when we say celebrate your wins, we're talking about non-scale wins as well. And an example of this is one of my clients messaged me the other day. She went out for a work lunch and she ordered lunch. She wanted to have baby potatoes. They didn't have any, or that she'd have to wait 30 minutes or something, but the chips could come out instantly. She didn't particularly want the chips. So what she did was shared it with one of her colleagues. Now, for me, that's a win. In
That's a
her
huge
mind,
win.
yeah, in her mind, she'd failed. She messaged me saying, oh my God, they brought out chips. I had some chips. It's the worst thing in the world. I wanted baby potatoes. So I stopped her and I said, right, number one, get out of your own head. Number two, potatoes and chips are both carbs. Yes, they are cooked differently, but tell me about these chips. What did you actually do? Because she didn't disclose that she'd shared them at first. So she's like, well, I just put it in the middle of me and my colleague. I had a couple on my plate and then I left the rest and they were eaten by colleagues. And I was like, okay, so number one, you didn't put them all on your plate. You took a small amount, put them on your plate, and then left the rest. So you had willpower not to just eat mindlessly. You had willpower to only take a few. You had the thought process to share with other people. These are three things that you wouldn't have done previous to your weight loss journey. And she's like, oh my God, You are so right. So in her head, she'd got so wrapped up on the fact that she'd had this lunch that she forgot to see how far she'd come from the beginning. And we celebrated that. I made sure that she celebrated that. I made sure she reflected on that, because that is a weight loss journey win.
Absolutely. And so many people always fixate on the negatives, like, yeah, okay, she had some chips, but when she spoke to you, she didn't disclose any of this positive stuff, because we instantly beat ourselves up. I had the same with a client, like a cereal biscuit eater prior to her weight loss journey, and been going absolutely fine. Got some bad news. She messaged me and said, I've fallen off. It's done. I'm over. And I'm thinking, oh no, what's happened? She told me that she's got this really bad news, and she had 2 biscuits. I said to her, okay. And she was like, that's 2 biscuits. And I was like, yes, okay, you've gone back to your first trigger food, but you used to smash out two packs of biscuits in one sitting for no apparent reason. You've like had this bad news, you've obviously stressed and emotionally ate, but you've been able to
control
stop.
that.
Yeah, control that and stop at 2 biscuits and say, that's enough, I've had enough, I'm done. So that, for me, that is a huge win. She was like, I just don't see how you can say that. And I'm like, 2 biscuits, 2 packets. Every single little thing is a win. Another client, she used to demolish 2 Belgian buns all the time, every day. And she was in the staff room and something had annoyed her at work. She said, oh, I shouldn't have done it. She said, but I had some cucumber sticks. That wasn't on my plan. And I was like, okay, like cucumber sticks. Again, guys, like, this is not going to take you back to the beginning or whatever. You didn't go back to, demolishing your Belgian buns and things like that. Like, all of these things have to be celebrated. Yes. And that is the key on this journey to having somebody that is going to hold you accountable, so that when you say these things that you think are negative, someone else can spin it around and be like, hang on a minute, this is actually really bloody positive.
Yeah. And let's go back to when you're learning anything new, because let's face it, what we focus on with the change in the mindset relationship towards food, most people have never done that before. They've gone on a diet, they've lost the weight, but they've never really changed anything. We're making them look outside the box. Let's go back to our toddler stage, or if you're a mum and you've had toddlers or you've got toddlers, go back to potty training, right? We are taking away the nappy, right? We're taking away the nappy, and all of a sudden we expect our child to be potty trained. And they have accidents. Of course they do, because this is something new. We don't tell them off for having a little accident. We encourage them for it. If they've accidentally got half the wee in the potty and half of it on the floor, we don't focus on all of the wee that's on the floor. We go, oh, well done, George, you've managed to go a wee in the toilet. I don't know why I didn't choose my own kids' names then. That was a bit weird. It's the same for us. Yes, there are going to be bumps in the road, but if that bump isn't the same as how you used to eat prior to your weight loss journey, that's success, and that's a celebration to be had. Now, there are different levels of celebration throughout your weight loss journey. Obviously, if you're setting yourself mini goals and you reach it, you might celebrate that with something bigger. If you're having these small wins and you're chatting to me and Abby, or you're chatting to other slimmers in the community, they can be celebrated. You are allowed to accept the fact that we are praising you without you going, no, I don't believe you. Because the more we reinforce this, the more you believe that actually you're going to end the diet cycle. For me, my big celebrations were shoes. I did shoe shopping in advance, and I was like, right, okay, when I reach my first stone, these are the shoes I'm going to get. And the pride that I felt not only when I purchased those shoes, but every time I put them on, was insane. I didn't even think about eating food because I'd lost a stone. It didn't interest me. I was so fixated on getting these shoes and going, actually, no, I'm going to get them. And every time I wore them, I was like, that was for my 1 stone, that was for my 2 stone, and so on and so forth. Some people like to burn candles. Some people like to, like Abby, you said, go and have a spa day or a pedicure or their nails done. Your small wins can lead to the big wins. And we've said this before in a course that we created about putting the pebbles in a jar.
Yeah, absolutely. Pebbles in a jar. Forgot about that one.
Yeah, pebbles in a jar for the smaller things, such as the sharing your chips, for example. That could be, actually, do you know what? That deserves a pebble in the jar. When you reach 20 pebbles or you set your own amount, I'm going to use that as a bigger win. I'm going to go on the spa day. I'm going to go and buy myself a new outfit. I'm going to go out with a friend, whatever it may be. But the small wins matter. Just like people say, every small step takes you to the end result. It doesn't matter how small they are, they're just as important.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you are thinking about what types of rewards, you don't have to be spending thousands of pounds on yourself or anything like that, but just doing things that make you feel good, or things that you wouldn't necessarily do prior to like your weight loss journey because you didn't feel that valued enough. You need to encourage that self-worth and that self-value. You are worthy of these things and you are making these changes, and we do need to celebrate them.
Yeah, 100%. So if you get anything out of this episode, we want you to know that you are worthy of this change. You deserve to be celebrated, and we have got you every single step of the way. So go and set up your little jar, get your pebbles or your buttons or whatever it may be, and let's build them up, because every time you pop one in, it's going to make you feel good. It builds your confidence to keep you going, and it's going to make sure that you get from A to Z. Thank you for listening. If you loved it, don't forget to press that subscribe button and the little bell so that you never miss a future episode. We will be back here with a new one on Sunday at 7 a.m. We'll see you then.